A warm greeting to everyone and welcome back to another video on our Java series. In this video, we'll be discussing on a very important concept in Java, that is the looping statements. As of now, we can start with the very basics of this looping statements, why we need that and all. We can, as always, we can just start with an example, right? So yeah, let's say I have a variable integer a that is going to be, let's say, 10 or 1. We can keep it as 1, and I want to print it here, sys out a, so that 1 will get printed, right? Now my requirement is that I want to print this up to 5. So what should I do? I should increment it. I hope you guys remember this incrementation operator. So what happens, this 1 gets incremented to 2. So now I'm going to print it again, sys out a. What happens? 2 will be printed. Now I have to repeat the statement again and again. So if I want to print 3, 4, 5. Now if I execute it, yeah, my condition is met. So what if I want to print up to 10 or 100 or maybe 1000? You will have to rewrite this code again and again, right? Basically, we should be able to loop through the single statement again and again until our result is attained. So there should be a way by which that can be done, and that is the looping statements available in Java. By using looping statements, you will be able to loop through a specific piece of code until a certain condition is met. For example, in this case, we know that this a++ and system.out.println a is something that needs to be looped through. So I will just, for now, I will just remove all these things. So here I have initialized the value of a, and now I will have to use a looping statement in order to loop through these two statements, right? So what can I use here? What all are the looping statements? I hope you guys might know this. If you have gone through any of the programming languages, definitely you will have an understanding about what all are these looping statements. If not, no worries, we will be seeing all those three here. We will just go ahead and see all the three looping statements one by one. So first we will start with the while loop. I will just go ahead and define a while loop, while followed by the condition braces followed by the code braces. So inside this I will just put in the statement that needs to be repeatedly executed. So first the value of a needs to be printed, right? First the value of a needs to be printed and then it should be incremented. So there should be a condition for which this looping statement should be stopped, right? Or else it could go for a infinite length. So I need a condition for which this looping statement should come to an end. So till when do you want your looping statement to get executed? I want to print it till 5. So for values of a less than 6 or less than or equal to 5, whatever you want to, you can give it. So I am giving it a less than 6. So what happens? At first, what is the value of a now? At first the value of a is 1. So what while does is that while loop will just check if the value of a is greater than 6. In our case, the value of a, if the value of a is less than 6. As of now, in my case, is the value of a less than 6? Yes, because it is 1 less than 6. So as a result, what happens? This condition is evaluated to true. So this block will get executed. So it gets into this line number 10, system.out.println 1 and 1 plus plus, that will be 2. So now the value of a is 2. Is 2 less than 6? Definitely. So it will get executed again. So 2 will be printed, incremented to 3 and then 4 and then 5 less than 6. So 5 will be printed, a plus plus, which becomes 6 less than 6, true or false? That will be false, right? So when this condition is not met, what happens? It will exit the loop. It will exit out of the loop. It will stop with its iteration. So I will print something here, sys out rest of the program. Fine. Now if I execute it, run as Java application 1 2 3 4 5. and it is continuing with the rest of its program execution. So with this, what happens is that I can print any number of values, right? If I want to print it up to 599, I guess, then I can give a less than 600. It will print until 599. Similarly, you can use a loop for iterating through a piece of code for any number of times, depending upon your requirement, right? So this is our first loop, that is our while loop. Then there is do while loop. The next loop is do while loop. Do followed by the code braces. Here you have to provide whatever you want to iterate through. So this is my requirement. Fine. And after the code braces, you will be providing a condition. This is where you will be providing a condition in a do while loop. That is for a less than 6. So what do you think would be the difference here as relative to our while loop? What will be the difference here? Think about it. What happens? Here, if you look here in line number 15, what is happening? I'm coming here. Am I checking any condition? No. So I'm just going to do this. So this will get executed. A will be printed. Whatever the value of A is, even it is 1 or 10 or 100, irrespective of the condition, it will get executed and it will get incremented. And after that only the condition is being checked. So in our case, the value of A is 1, so 1 will be printed, it is incremented, and finally it is checked. 1 less than 6, true. Sorry, it is incremented, so it is 2, so 2 less than 6, true. So if that condition is true, the loop will reiterate and goes on reiterating until this while condition equates to false. So the only difference between while loop and do while loop is that do while loop will get executed at least once irrespective of the looping condition. If the looping condition fails in our while loop, it won't get executed even once. But that is not the case with do while loop. Irrespective of the condition, our do while loop will get executed at least once. A common usage scenario for this would be that of, for displaying a menu. Before the user could give in an input, the menu should be displayed once, right? So for all those cases where you have to do something at least once irrespective of irrespective of the condition, you can go with the do while loop, or else you can stick on with while loop itself. So this is the only difference between them. And then comes the next loop, that is for loop. For so the major difference between previous loops and for loop is, okay, here if you look here, for previous loops what happened, there was a line where we had to do the initialization, and there was another line where we did the condition checking, and in another line we did the updation. But when it comes to for loop, we won't be taking 3 separate lines for doing these 3 operations. We will be incorporating all this into a single line. That is, we will be doing initialization followed by condition followed by updation. All this in a single line. So in our case, what was the initialization? We had to initialize a variable to 1, right? And then we had to do the condition checking. So what was our condition? A shouldn't be greater than 6, right? And what's our updation? After each iteration, the value of A should be incremented 1 times. So this is how you will be defining a for loop, and within here you can just provide whatever you want to do. So unlike our previous looping statement, I need not do the incrementation again within the loop body. Why? Because it is being taken care within the initial line, right? Let's see how this works. So I will be coming here for int a equal to 1. At first this variable will get initialized with int a equal to 1, so the value of a is initialized to 1. After that, the condition will be checked. Is the value of a less than 6? Is it less than 6? Is 1 less than 6? Yes. So I will just enter this loop and this gets iterated. System.out.println a. It will be printed, executed. So 1 will be printed. And after that, it will come to this side. Okay. So first the condition, first the variable was initialized and then the condition was checked. The condition was true for us, so we printed the value or we executed the loop body, and then the updation will be executed. So 1 will get updated to 2, and then the condition will be checked again. Is 2 less than 6? Yes. So what happens? The loop body will be executed, and then it will be updated again, and then the condition will be checked. So it is okay, so it will be printed, updated, condition, printed, updated, condition, printed, updated, condition. Now what happens? Condition equates to false, so it will stop with its iteration and it will come out of its loop. Alright, so it will just go on with its iteration as long as it meets its condition, just like our normal loops. The only difference being in the way in which the initialization, updation and conditional checking is done in for loop as compared with the previous loops. So that is the only difference. Otherwise the working is somewhat similar, because we are initializing a variable and then we are doing the checking, and we are iterating through the statement and we are doing the updation, right? So otherwise these are almost the same, but this for loop is much more concise or much more compact. This is mostly used as per your requirement, and as per your comfort you can use whichever loop you want to. All right, so I will just execute it once. Run as Java application, and you can see how it works. 1 2 3 4 and 5. I hope that is clear. So these are the looping statements available in Java: while, do while and for loop. As you progress with the course, you will be seeing much more compact versions for this for loop, all right, because it's mostly used. It's mostly used for the iteration purposes. Anyway, that's all I got for this video. I hope you guys understood something or learned something new out of this. So then until next time, it's your friend Sajin, and we will meet in our next video. Thank you.